I say to everyone, like, there's so many different ways you can experience Dubai. Like, if you don't come to Dubai and adjust to, like, actually live like a normal person, and what I mean by that is having your foundations that you would have at home, like a good foundation of friends around you, a community, routine, structure. There was a few mistakes throughout the journey, which I'm so happy I made now in hindsight, but at the time felt like hell, which led us to close. And I was never the sheep, but at the same time, I was still quite influenced because I would do better than my surroundings, but I would never hit my potential because of where I was until I kind of left that environment. I ended up getting fired from the first job because even though I was working in the marketing sector and I was learning sales, my head wasn't there because all I wanted to do was do what I wanted to do. I'd learned so much from all of the people I worked for, and then I went from junior to senior and then top boy in that company, and then I'm next to the manager and the owner and the director all the time. Cut the Crap is basically about, like you said, people making business and success, and even this life, seem like can only go one way if you do this, or if you do this, it's just so easy. Like, oh my God, just everyone become an entrepreneur. It's the best thing ever. Let's just all do it. Cut the crap, because that's not true. And to make it real for you, bro, going through Rap City, I hit depression. I started having health issues.
Welcome to the Takeoff Experience, where I sit down with highly driven people to talk about their journey, their failures, and their successes. If you want to take off in your career, your business, your finances, or your mindset, then this podcast is for you. Welcome back to the Takeoff Experience. So yeah, we're doing a little bit of a different one because the guest I'm going to introduce you to is in Dubai. How are you doing today, Trist?
I'm all good, my brother, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for reaching out.
No, definitely. You know what's crazy? I've been following your content for I think when I first started, I've been following Grow Daily for a while, and it was motivated for me. You know what's funny? I don't know if you're going to remember this, but you actually took a snippet of one of my tweets. It's on the page. If you go back, you'll see it there. Yeah. So that was, you know what? I was actually gassed by that because like a page that I'm following that I look up to is reposting my stuff. So yeah, man.
What was the tweet? What did you say?
It was about the stock market going down. So I was talking about just being patient and just keep on averaging down. Yeah. So I feel like this is like a full circle moment for me because now I'm doing the podcast. I get to interview you. So you're out in Dubai at the moment, right? When did you move to Dubai?
I've been there for 2 years now. So I moved in September 2020, middle of lockdown, basically.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that nice apartment I was seeing, that was in Dubai.
Yeah. I think so probably. Yeah. When?
It must have been 2020.
Yeah. That's when I first moved to. That was my first place. Yeah.
Oh, mad. Okay. That's crazy, man. And how's life down there?
Oh, bro, amazing, man. I can only be grateful. It's been a very interesting journey. This is like the first platform that I've spoke out on probably since being in the UK. To be fair, I think probably the first other podcast I spoke on since being in Dubai. Because obviously when I was in the UK, I was quite busy on all the platforms and whatnot. And then I just started focusing on my own content when I come here. So yeah, no, it's been good. I mean, at the moment, I'm grateful. I'm in a good place, and everything is kind of finally how I planned it to be and getting toward my plan. But throughout the journey, it's definitely been a lot of roller coasters, extreme highs, extreme lows, which has kind of blessed me to be in a position now to come back with content that is just taking their heads off, because I've seen the highest highs and the lowest lows. Do you get what I mean? So it's been good, man. Definitely a decision that I'm happy that I made, and a place that I'm happy I relocated to, because there's just so much opportunity. I love living here. The people are all on a similar mission of some kind. And even down to just the narrative of Dubai that's put out there. I'm glad you even asked about Dubai, because I don't really go in line with a lot of the Twitter narratives and the stereotypes and the rapper feuds and all this kind of stuff, because there's a whole nother side of Dubai that the internet just don't even know exists. So we're going to show them the truth. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. Because you're right. All I ever see these days about Dubai is fights happening there. It's becoming the new Ibiza or something like that. Not saying that it's losing its prestige, but it just seems like anybody is going there and they maybe tarnishing it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the narrative they're putting out there. But like I say to everyone, there's so many different ways you can experience Dubai. Like, if you don't come to Dubai and adjust to like actually live like a normal person, and what I mean by that is having your foundations that you would have at home, like a good foundation of friends around you, a community, routine, structure, then you can easily get into the other side of Dubai, which I've experienced both sides, which is like lit life and there's beef and this, that, and other. But one thing I will make clear is, if we're comparing it to like what we think we are, it's nowhere near, man. Very rarely there's fights. It definitely doesn't go to the extremities. There was a few issues that were on social media, but I wouldn't use that as a judgment of Dubai, because I have an experience of Dubai that is totally different. I have a community of entrepreneurs, business owners, 9-to-5ers, families that are here, people that are in relationships. Like, and when I say all these things, people are like, "Where? In Dubai?" Like, yes, in Dubai. Like, my friendship unit, most of them are in healthy relationships, most of them are business owners, so I can't relate to this social media narrative, and I wish people would look further when they came here. But I think what you get from here is based on who you are. So if you come here with the intention to build, create, network, like grow your brand, grow your business, then you'll find that. If you come here to just live a luxurious lifestyle, and remember, a lot of people aren't necessarily used to a luxurious lifestyle previously, but they come here and they experience one, then you might get lost in the sauce. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, man. You know what? Yeah, Dubai is just one of those places that it intrigues me, because like you said, I feel like there's another side to it where like you can connect with entrepreneurs, you can connect with like-minded people, and it kind of puts you in the position where you're just looking forward and you're motivated to get somewhere. But there's one thing that you didn't answer though. Why did you move to Dubai?
Oh, so originally, so I had a branding agency in the UK called Brand Therapist, yeah? So we came here on a trip. So what I did is I basically did a trip for one of the influencers that we was managing, and we came out here, we created content, but the main purpose was literally a little bit of enjoyment, but also to network. And that was just because we couldn't go anywhere from the UK. It was middle of lockdown. It was hard to go anywhere. So then when I came out here, we ended up getting an inquiry through a company, and so through our agency got an inquiry from another company, and they were basically inquiring to utilize on one of the influencers that we managed and get promo through the influencer. So in the end, I ended up meeting the client, and the client turned out to be an owner of a shisha, was gonna be, which is now a shisha lounge that is here. But at the time, they were just launching an app. So we ended up connecting, and we ended up being from the same place in South London. We ended up kind of being on a similar mission, in the sense of he just wanted to build his brand, and I was very brand friendly. Like, I've had a lot of experience with him building brands and marketing anyway. And where we was from the same place, we connected. We spoke, we connected while I was here. And whilst I was out here, the first thing I'll highlight is I got so much done productively. Like, this is when I was really in my original start of building this Trist Taylor brand. Like, I've been online for years, but this is when I started taking it seriously. So I was really in my bag. I was meeting people, I was connecting, I was creating content, I was doing exactly what I came to do. And when I realised how much I got done in Dubai compared to UK, and when I realised how easier the doors open and how quicker people was just on getting things done, I was like, I would love to live here. So anyway, we stayed connected, me and this client, but at the time, it was just some promo that he got from our company. And then we actually became genuine friends. So then when I went back, we was talking like every single day, because we're from the same background, same area, etc. And one day he called me and he was just like, bro, I wanna turn my app into a lounge, just like as a kind of a 360 branding. So another way to push my app is I opened a shisha lounge, because it was a shisha based app, called Shishio, which is in Dubai, by the way, if anyone's visiting. So from there he was just like, bro, like, I want you to help me on it. I want you to help me manage with the influencers and the promo and the marketing side of things. Like, I was like, bro, I'll be down. Like, I also wanted to bring my car wrapping company, Rap City, out here anyway. So I was like, bro, no brainer. UK had obviously, so prior to that, I was always office-based, but UK had meant that we couldn't be office-based because of lockdown. So I was working from home anyway. So with that opportunity arising and the fact that UK was in lockdown, I was just like, this is just a no-brainer, man. Like, this is just a no-brainer. So after that, I think about 6 weeks later, bro, I spoke to my mum. My mum was like, what are you doing here? What are you waiting for? I was off, man. I packed up shop and I was off, bro.
Mad. It's mad that your mum said, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, my mum's like that. Like, she's very like...
But it is, man.
She gets it. So she's like, there's opportunities there for you. And they also understand like the the parts of London that are downfalls. I love London to bits, but
Yeah.
there's parts that are downfalls, especially when you're aiming for success and you're a bit loud. Like I came up a bit loud. I was always quite well networked. And they know that I'm safer here. They know it's safe. I can enjoy my journey more. And
Yeah.
do you get what I mean? So yeah, she was just like, "What you waiting for, man?"
Yeah, mad. So you said you mentioned a couple of things. I remember your company, Rhapsody. So you said you had to wrap up shop, right? So was that literally closing the business, stopping it, or like did you?
Rhapsody closed not just because I moved. Rhapsody closed more so because there was so. I mean, we'll get into it because obviously that's what we want to do. We want to talk about. These are where the gems really are, realistically. So the business obviously started in 2018, and when it started, it was me and my business partner T.E. Ness, who's also a rapper as well. And when it started, we hit the ground running. It was kind of like an industry which was not really saturated, but I wanted to come in and give it a touch it never had, which was like a quote-unquote urban feel, but a lot of other companies had built reputations with footballers, and at the time, no one had really tapped into the music industry. But I've always had a good network within the music industry. So I thought, you know what, there's a gap here, and obviously my business partner being in the music industry as well, it helped. So we started and everything went fine. I think there was a few mistakes throughout the journey, which I'm so happy I made now in hindsight, but at the time felt like hell, which led us to close. And one of those being that we put a lot out, so our expenses were really high, but our income wasn't necessarily as high. It was at the beginning, but then when lockdown came, people didn't want to leave their houses, and on top of that, we're in the middle of a pandemic. The additional cash, surplus cash, should I say, for people to do things like wrap their car wasn't priority anymore. So the industry felt it, but we wasn't strong enough at that time to withstand that. If we had been going for more years, we may have been. And on top of that, if I was maybe more passionate and more resilient and wasn't focused on multiple different things, then I probably would have stuck through the storm. But because the opportunities arose here, and I always say like that journey is not over, it's just been paused. Because who knows, in the next few years you might see Rhapsody Dubai, and then it will be like nothing ever happened. Do you get what I mean? But we come to the point of where when I moved here, lockdown was happening, businesses were closing left, right, and centre. To have the expense, we didn't know where it was going. No one knew where the world was going, if it was going to be allowed outside again. So it was just like, you know what? Let's just pull the plug on that for now. We've never deleted the page or made a big closure or nothing like that. We just pulled the plug and cracked on. And like I say, who knows what the future holds, man?
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, them stories is almost kind of what defines you, you know. How did you feel about it at the time? Like, was it easy for you to let it go, or were you like, you know what, like, nah, I'm just...
Bro, it was absolute hell. Like, that point in my life was extremely stressful because it got to the point of where something I realised I had very much built based on ego and pride. And I built a lot of my personality based on that business. So when it got to the point of having to let it go, it was so hard to make the right decisions. I should have made the decision a lot earlier, but my pride was so focused on, I even changed my brand to being Trist Rap City, which is something I've learned now in hindsight is never necessarily the healthiest because that business might come and go, but your personal brand will probably be forever. So it was hard, bro. It was hard. It was a damage to my ego. It was financially a stress until we let it go, and then it wasn't anymore, of course. And it just felt like failure, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we always, like, kind of pussyfoot around failure. Like, failure feels shit, doesn't it? Like, you failed.
It does.
And it feels shit. But at the same time, you've also made a big hoo-ha about it. You've made it huge, and then you've turned around and not done it anymore. So, yeah, man, there was that pride, there was that ego. But now, with the growth from that point, I realised that failure's cool, man. Like, if it wasn't for that failure, like, no one could sit down and talk about, like, building a car wrapping company like me unless they've done it. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's the true experience. That gives me a whole nother set of leverage. I could do a course on that or a speech on that or whatever it might be. So now I don't really have that same feeling to it. But at the time, it was pain, bro, man.
Yeah. I can only imagine, man, to be honest, man, like how that must have felt. And I definitely sympathise with you. But at the same time, it sounds like you're defo doing better. You're stronger for it, you're better for it, and then you're teaching people these lessons. But yeah, I wanted to like go like background wise, just like go a little bit deeper into your story. Like, so parents, where are your parents from?
Caribbean and English. So my mum, well, realistically Caribbean, but obviously English background. My mum's Trinidadian and my dad's Jamaican.
Okay. Have you been?
Yeah. I've been both. Yeah. I spent a lot.
Do you go often or?
So I spent a lot of time growing up in Jamaica, and Trinidad I've only been once.
Okay. And were you born in London or?
Yeah, I was born in London. Yeah, I was born originally in East London, but my mum relocated to South quite when I was 3.
Oh, is it? Whereabouts in South actually?
Lewisham, Catford.
Oh, mad. Yeah. I'm from South. I grew up in Camberwell.
Oh, is it? Yeah, SE5.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, SE5. You see, you even know the postcode. That's how I know you're from South. Yeah. I grew up in Camberwell, pretty much that Camberwell, Peckham, Elephant area. Okay, so you're from Lewisham. What was it like for you, like growing up in Lewisham as a young man?
I had a very unique experience because I actually went to private school, but I went in the middle of Lewisham. Yeah, I went in the middle of Lewisham, so it was a bit like private school. When I walked out, I was in the ends. But in regards to the area, or in regards to my household.
Just generally, yeah. Just generally.
In regards to the area, it's like everyone's kind of cliche story. Obviously, technically, I grew up in the hood, innit? It's the ends, but at the same time, I had a really good upbringing. I had mum and dad and a stepdad. I had a lot of love, a lot of guidance. I was always pushed towards doing something and building something, and I was always kind of staying away from the roads. I had experiences with the roads, and I've always been quite well known in my area, so it was hard to fully avoid things. But growing up, I was always I always knew I had to do something. I was never the sheep, but at the same time, I was still quite influenced because I would do better than my surroundings, but I would never hit my potential because of where I was until I kind of left that environment.
Yeah, that's mad. So you went private school? I didn't even know there was a private school in Lewisham.
Yeah, St Dunstan's College. It's in Catford.
Oh, that's crazy. So, okay.
My school was like Hogwarts.
So what was that like? Did you... I mean, it's hard to compare it to other because you didn't do anything else, but
Well, no, I can compare it.
Was that education?
I can compare it because I went to a state primary school. So my primary school was where the man them all went. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But then the secondary school was none of the man them was there. So I think going to private school, I think it opened my eyes. The education wasn't necessarily better, but what it did show me was another life that I had never seen. People that I went to school with, their parents were business owners, and a lot of them came from wealthy backgrounds, and none of them came from Lewisham really. Only my group of friends. So I was my peers were from Dulwich and Richmond and Kingston, and do you know what I mean? These areas were to me they were raw, what goes on down there. So I think it opened my eyes early on, which I think is what actually helped me become a lot more ambitious. I always knew there was more than what I was currently experiencing. Do you get what I'm saying? So from that, I think is what kind of always steered me to go harder, man.
Yeah, wow. I always find it interesting, if something like private school, if it helps, because you said it opened your eyes to. Do you think it gave you a sense of I want that? Did you feel
100%. Don't get me wrong. It's a good question what you just said about does it help, because I used to have moments when you're growing up as a little. You're a little shit as a teenager, you're ungrateful. It's mad, but when I was young, I didn't want to go there because I thought it was quote unquote not cool to go there. Yeah. And now as an adult, I think, what the hell, how amazing that I had that education, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel at the time, when you're actually in it, the education isn't I wouldn't say the education is any different as in regards to the syllabus and the GCSEs. We're all studying the same things. There is a better teacher to student ratio, which means that you have more attention given to you. But I think the main thing was seeing affluent lifestyles. Everyone around me came from an affluent lifestyle. The majority of people were middle to upper class. There was a lot of upper class. So that definitely made me realize okay, so I'm going to different parties, I'm in different environments, I'm understanding how the other half live, as they say. And I think that definitely spurred me to think, you know what, I want to be I want to go for class. I don't want to be hood rich. I want to be classy. I want to grow as a person all round. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. That it's such a fascinating thing. And I was wondering what was grades wise, were you good, and what was your favourite subject at school?
Do you know what? Grade wise I wasn't good, but I wasn't bad. I mean, my problem was, bro, my whole time in education, I was distracted from secondary all the way up to being a uni dropout. And the reason I was distracted is because all I ever wanted to do was what I was passionate about, and none of these things felt like my passion. So like favorite subjects would have been music, because I loved music, and psychology. Well, that's a bit later on, but like in regards to secondary school, music, and I kind of like science, to be honest. Like I like science, and RE was my, like anything to do with like religion and do you get what I mean? So that was for me. But GCSEs, I didn't do the best, but at the same time I got into a good sixth form. So I went to a good sixth form. A levels, didn't do the best. I just about got into uni. But don't get it twisted, like academically, result wise, it was poor. But academically, I was always top of my class. Like always. Like I had been put, I was told I was going to be a head from a very young age. Like I done the, we call it 11 plus in Sydney. So it's basically like a one exam you do for all the grammar schools. And I got into all the grammar schools. So I was always, all the schools I got into were always high level, but examinations and preparation and revision was never my thing.
Yeah, and I think, and I think that's not really a reflection on you. It's just more the school system and how they test. They test one way, exams, innit? Right? That's not really reflective of how smart somebody is, or, I mean, because if they were to measure, okay, how far could Trist go in life based on these results, they definitely would have not measured where you've got now, right?
100%. 1
right? So,
yeah, 100%.
So
but at the same time, what I will say, just a slightly, I hate when people put this narrative of like, oh, my teacher said I wasn't going to be anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my teachers knew I was going to be something. Like, they just thought that I was just too distracted, and if he doesn't focus, he won't be something, which is true. Yeah. And there's, you know what? There's nothing actually wrong with that. Again, like I feel like there's nothing wrong with if you're really good at exams and you succeed that way. Nothing wrong with that. But I think is we also got to look at the other half is if you don't do well at that point, that doesn't define you. That doesn't mean that you can't improve or get better. It's really up to you what you do. Right? Like a teacher can't. Yes, the teacher can say, okay, yeah, I think you can, but it's still up to you to deliver what you need to do. So you mentioned university dropout as well. Like, so what did you study at uni and what happened there? So when I was growing up, originally all I really cared about was music. Like that's all I cared about. Sound engineering, artistry, DJing, anything, producing, like whatever it was. All of my media knowledge came from music. So when I went to uni, I went to study sound engineering because I wanted to be a sound engineer. But when I was there, I started to realize that my course was very science-based rather than practical. And I already had built my own home studio. I was already recording for like the local artists like Fatal Assassins, just some of the grime artists that were coming up.
Yeah.
So I had experience, and I had worked at Abbey Road Studio. I had work experience in these kind of platforms. And then what ended up happening was whilst I was in uni, like I had joined a team, basically an entertainment company when I was about 17. And I became a DJ in the UK funky industry. So I was touring with this company, but I was also in university. So whilst I was in university, I was in Birmingham. I went to Birmingham City University, and I just wasn't focused on class because I saw so many opportunities in the city, which is ironically, maybe 10 years later, the same thing I've done in Dubai. I just saw so many opportunities. So I started to get to work. So I started to DJ. I started to get myself residency. I became a DJ every Wednesday on their local radio. I then also put a night on, and I started putting nights on, and then I started getting into the uni circuit, and I started touring all the unis and DJing at all the unis.
Mad.
So I'm meant to be in class, you know what I mean? But last night I was in Leicester shutting it down with Cold Steps.
That's crazy.
It was too distracting for me, and then I dropped out of Birmingham. I came back down to London. My mum was like, "You're doing something because you're not going to sit here and do nothing." And at the time, you see, like the media building a brand, PR, marketing thing, parents weren't really hearing that back then. Like, my mum is very understanding, but it wasn't as like now. My mum's on Instagram. She got her own brand. She understands TikTok, this, that, the other, Gary V, all these things. At the time, what are you doing? Like, what are you dropping out for? And even though I could see something, I didn't know what I could see because I was a part of, like, I'm 31, so I'm a part of that generation where we kind of opened all the doors that are now our doors. We were the generation. So
Yeah.
I was figuring it out, and I don't think that gave her much confidence. So then I went to London, met for a few months, and I've done events and brand management. And I just thought, you know what, this ain't for me. And then the story continues, man.
Mad. That's crazy. So you left uni midway, and then the first business, did you say, was events and brand management?
Yeah, so at this time, I left uni and I started my own PR agency called New Money PR. And at the time, I was managing a UK funky artist who's one of our closest friends, Big Man Zest at the time. So then we started working with like Adidas, Trapstar, this, that, and the other. And then I got to a point where realizing that I wanted to start a business as a basically marketing, but I thought more PR at the time. But I never had the funds. So then it got to the point where I would do 3 months of progress and then be 3 months grinding, and I just couldn't figure out how to get this balance of how do I start this business? Do I stop for a year and just make money? Do I do it at the same time? I couldn't figure it out. So I ended up getting a job. With a marketing company called Haymarket, which they're one of the biggest, basically, publishing agencies in the UK. So I tried the 9 to 5 thing, and again, whilst I was in work, I kept building my own project. Like I just, everywhere I would go, I would build my own project. I'd be in class, building my own project, talking to graphic designers, building a team, utilizing on my Twitter following and this, that, and the other, and just trying to build. So I ended up getting fired from the first job because even though I was working in the marketing sector and I was learning sales, my head wasn't there. Because all I wanted to do was do what I wanted to do. Like, my goal has always been to, like, run my own shit, build my own empire. Like, do you get what I mean? So I was distracted from there. And then where it kind of all took a positive turn was after that, I had a good friend who was, he was working in commodity sales. So he, at the time, this is like the era of when, I don't know if this was every part of the city, but in South London there was an era where like wine broking and selling wine was huge. Like, but it was only huge within kind of like the quote unquote the white sector. Like black guys didn't really know about it. It was just a lot of white boys like doing well, suits and that, working in the city, giving it large. Do you know what I mean? Proper Wolf of Wall Street. And one of my friends ended up doing really well in it. And like at the age of like 21, he was driving an Aston Martin. And he was just like, Trist, you're in a point where you're wasting your life. Like, you've got so much potential. You've done sold out events. You've done this, you've done that, but you're not utilizing on what you have, like from a quote unquote local level to like how you can make real money out of that. So he ended up getting me a job interview for a job role, and it was a sales role. And the sales role was very much like the Wolf of Wall Street vibe. Yeah. Minus a lot of the negativity, but still some of the lifestyle was obviously incorporated in it. Yeah. And I got into that industry. And that was where it just all went. Like, from there, the only way was up, realistically. Like, that's where I learned mindset, really. That's where I started understanding personal development. I started setting goals. I made my first £100,000 in, like, when I was like 21. So after that, it was like, all right, the world is my oyster. Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to go? Like, anything I had as ideas before to build, now's the time, because now I'm accumulating money and my lifestyle has started changing quite young as well, like 21, 22, 23. We're like heavily amongst multi-millionaires and a luxurious lifestyle, and we've got things that 21 and, well, nowadays is quite common, but at the time, that wasn't common. Do you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't rappers with all this stuff, and there wasn't many things for us to see like this coming from the backgrounds we came from. And the blessing was I went through that door with all of my friends, like 4 of my friends, and we all ended up doing really well for ourselves individually. And that was the start of like Grow Daily, and the way that I think and the mindset and just everything I am today started in those offices 2012, 21 years old.
Okay, wow. That's such an epic story. And I think you see, like, when friends do things for you and they do things for you that help you grow. That friend, I'm sure you probably thanked that friend and said, yeah, man, you helped me to level up.
That's my brother for life. Like, we haven't spoken in a while, but that's my brother for life because he opened the door for me that changed my life forever, man.
Yeah. That's a madness. And so you started at that company. What At what point did you get into like business?
So I was working in that industry from about 2013, 2012, and I was 21. So up until 26, same industry, I decided that I could do this myself now. So I'd learned so much from all of the people I worked for, and then I went from junior to senior, and then top boy in that company, and then I'm next to the manager and the owner and the director all the time. And then I went on to start basically. From that position, I went on to start opening my own sales academies and start training people sales myself, and started to use that industry to pivot into others. My first step from there was Rap City. So after that, obviously after accumulating, I then went into Rap City. So technically my first business was before that, because in the meantime, something that I've missed out was I started a cleaning company in 2014. That lasted about a year, closed that down, didn't work. I was in the office focused on sales and trying to do that at the same time. Didn't have a team for it. Then obviously Grow Daily, which never really started as a business, but realistically has turned into a business. That was 2017. And then in 2018, I started Rap City. That's when I invested into Rap City, and then that's when we started to build the personal brand, and I started to step out of my comfort zone and like speak more publicly and just kind of spread the Grow Daily. The mission for Grow Daily was to basically give all the gems that I have learned and accumulated, and all the people that I've learned from content-wise in one place. So you can go to this one platform and you can soak in so much value and knowledge and game, so you can realize that if you actually do work on your mindset, the rest of your life will follow. And that's all we wanted to do. And that was where it started.
Yeah. Wow, man. So it sounds like you did a lot of businesses, and now you've got Tyra Creative, right? Yeah,
Tyra Creative. So in Dubai, it's Dubai based, hence why I'm here. But obviously we cover every country globally. Creative agency, marketing and branding as well, and also concept creation. So to obviously elaborate on that a bit further, in regards to, I'd say a large percentage of the venues in Dubai, nightclubs, food and beverage restaurants, are usually designed or branded or marketed by my business partner, who's Tyra Shaquille, who owns Tyra Creative. And when I got here is obviously when I got involved. So I didn't start that business, it was already started. And then I obviously joined as a creative director, and that's where we're here. Now this is the office we're in right now.
Okay, mad. And so what's your role in it then?
Creative director. So over the years, what I found, so to give you a bit of a background of how that happened, as I said, when I was in the UK, I started Brand Therapist in 2019. That was me just I've always, if you notice along this journey, I've always been creating some form of brand, some form of concept. And I started to do a lot for other brands as well, but just as friends, because a lot of my peers were owning businesses and starting brands. So I started Brand Therapist in 2019 to have a one-stop agency that you come to, and whether it be a business idea, brand idea, product idea, whatever it is, we can design it, help you create it, we can give you consultancy, and we can take the idea from nothing to something. But this was always me, because going back to New Money PR, that's exactly what we used to do. You bring your idea to us and we take it to the next level. So when I moved to Dubai, my main focus was obviously Rap City originally and Shishio, but then I ended up meeting my business partner, and who's Tyra, who obviously runs the agency. So what I found is that I started working with her pretty much as a client, because she was doing the branding and marketing for my own stuff, but we was in essence trying to achieve the same thing. So what she was doing with Tyra Creative and what I wanted to do with Brand Therapy, she was further ahead, but my goal was to do the same thing. But it didn't make sense, and this is something that I think people could learn from. Like, it didn't make sense us both trying to be our own. We could have just teamed up rather than me trying to carry on. And the way I saw it was, this is someone that I got very close with, became my best friend, and we also opened other businesses in Dubai. So it got to a point where I thought, you know what? Why am I going to still continue building mine? I'm only a year old. She's about 10 years experience in the industry, got a massive network and following. People, like, she's the go-to in Dubai anyway. Why do that? Rather than think smart, let me take my energy back from that and put it all towards this. So even though, yes, this is her company and her baby and her brand that she's built, there's no pride and ego from me, because I've got the level of experience, I've got the network, I know what I can offer to this, because I've done this for how many years. So it was a no-brainer, man. Like, I think one day I just said to her, do you know what, I'm going to close down Brand Therapist, And I think we, as people, like, we fear closing things down. Like in this conversation, you've heard me say about 3 or 4 companies that I closed down. Yes, man, I closed businesses down, man. Cut the crap. Like, it's fine. It's fine to close things down. Do you know what I mean? It's fine to get to a point where you realize this is not serving you correctly, or you're not serving it correctly, and maybe you need another team, or maybe you need another business partner, or maybe you need a different angle, or attack it differently. And I felt that everything I was doing was fine, but I heavily invested into her. Like, everything she had, I thought this can do amazing things. And it already was doing amazing things. So it just made sense. And then, yeah, we just ended up joining forces. And here we are. So to elaborate on the role in regards to creative directory, so it's pretty much what I do in every one of my brands and businesses now. So say, for example, we have a campaign, we might have a client who's given a brief, and the brief might be to come up with a new concept or a new night on a Sunday night or a new idea for this venue. I would be in this here, the studio we call it here. I would be here with her creating this. So when it comes to Photoshop and actually creating, that has never been my field. Actually executing, never been my field. Actual design, never been my field. But when it comes to the ideas and the concept and the brands and the taglines and the names and the way we can actually market this, that's where I thrive. So that's the role I've taken. And obviously she's together, we're creating a massive empire here, man, and dominating Dubai with it, man.
Love that, and I wish you good luck with that. So I was wondering, like, what's been the transition like been for you to Dubai, like on a personal level as well? Have you like, did you get used to it very quickly? Was it like, oh, this is tough, man, to live out here? The culture's a little bit different.
Do you know what, bro? Yeah, I think everything that you asked me, I always end up saying I had a very unique experience, because my experience is very often not like the majority of people that do these things. So moving to Dubai for me was different to like anyone who would probably just follow me and maybe not. Remember, the blessing that I have, and something I've worked very hard for many years, is I have an amazing network. I have an amazing brand, and I've worked hard to keep a good reputation amongst business and brand owners. So wherever I go in the world, like, God's blessed me where I'm able to kind of find my feet, just starting off with my network skills. So when I came here, I already knew Tyra, who's obviously my business partner now, and obviously the owner of Shishio as well. So 2 prominent figures was a good start for me. Personally, when I first came here, I went through a lot of financial struggles because I was trying to maintain a lot of the UK stuff whilst I was here, and I also just made a lot of dumb decisions, bro, to be honest. Like you said, the crib that you first saw when I first moved here, like, I didn't need this crib. Like, I didn't need this. I didn't need to have a Rolls Royce when I first moved here. I didn't need to move straight into a penthouse. I've just moved into Dubai, like, so I think, was it easy? Definitely not. But I was blessed because I have the network. But let me not even say I was blessed, because it was fucking hard, man. Like, it's just that I have a certain mindset. And my mindset is I'm not giving up. Like, I wasn't coming back to the UK until I've hit certain goals. And I haven't been back, bro. Like, I haven't been back in 2 years because I'm so stubborn. Like, I'm not coming back. Like, now I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to come back now. In the next few months, I'll be planning to come back. But at the beginning, the transition was amazing because so much opportunity. I felt like I found my tribe. People spoke my language. So many entrepreneurs. The mindsets. Like, everyone was just go, 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 go. The hard parts of transitioning were like, people turned on me back in the UK. A lot of like, yeah, man. A lot of the foundations I thought I had in the UK that were solid turned out to not be as solid. And that's just more on a personal level, not business, but on a personal level. Business, again, God bless me, my business foundation stayed secure. But personally, yeah, man, like not. Bro, I was everyone's friend. I was outside of everyone, man. You could catch me one day at that party, and next day I'd be with that person, and like all very prominent people. And I think when I was out of sight, I realized that these weren't real pure friendships. These were relevant and clout-based friendships. And at the time, I'm in London, I'm lit. When you're with me, it's lit, we're lit, you look lit, I look lit. It's just all about being lit and looking amazing. And it's just bullshit. I think coming here just made me realise, like, it's all bullshit, man. It's all bullshit. Like, this whole concept of just what looks cool and all this shit, it's just bullshit. But I would never have understood that if I didn't move away from it, because I was caught in it. I was in a bubble. Like, I was living like a rapper some of the times. I didn't need to live like that. But it was just that I was in it. Do you know what I mean? I was in that bubble. And coming here, I think the transition, it was hard, but it was needed. That's the best way to say it.
That's crazy, man. Like, you know what's so surprising about that is the fact that you said that, like, you know, you realize that some of the relationships were like clout type relationships. And I definitely understand what you mean. I feel like even at university, I would say a lot of people would have experienced that, and a lot of people that they would have been quote unquote friends with at uni, they're probably not friends with them now because it was all based on, oh, let's go out at night, let's just drink, and that's all it was based on, man. Were there any surprises for you from some people? Were you surprised that, wow, like, so what, I'm going to go and achieve my dreams in Dubai and you just ghost me?
1000%, bro. Like, in my time of coming here, I got done over, like, in some way, shape or form, whether it's business or personal, by so many people that I thought were my guys. But like I said, you see when you're in that bubble and you've got so much that people can use on a day-to-day basis, like that just they can use you and have access to you on a day-to-day basis, then you're kept on side. But when you're now no longer useful and you may even go to the next level and you might actually leave us behind, we're going to try and clip at your heels and try and get the last bits we can get from you because you're gone. Remember, like, see social media and the internet, it always looks, I say this to my friend all the time, you always look richer than you are. Always. Doesn't matter what level you're at, you look richer than you are. So me moving to Dubai was like, whoa, like my man's gone, like, yo, like. So I think for some people, I think they kind of saw it as like, he ain't probably coming back. Let me try and get something from this. And I think, yeah, a lot of people shocked me, man. Let's put it that way. A lot of people shocked me.
That's crazy. That's crazy. What's it like been working in Dubai with clients? What do you see any difference between them there and London?
100%. Like in Dubai, there's pluses and minuses. So like in our industry, for example, little things that don't really happen much in the UK is even like pay. Something so small like clients paying. In the UK, like the price points are different, number one. So for example, what you might get a videographer for here in Dubai is very different to UK price-wise. Designers, motions, graphics, whatever, very different to Dubai price points. From a creative standpoint, some of the culture lacks. So why I loved working with Tyra is because even though she's lived in Dubai for a long time, she's originally from UK, so she has a lot of the culture from UK and it comes out in her work. But a lot of the creatives here don't necessarily, yeah? But on the flip side, people pay in the sense of like, people just want to get shit done and you don't get inquiries versus customers. The ratio I'd say is lower here because a lot more converts. Whereas in UK, it's a lot more, remember there's so many more options, it's so saturated. So a man will come and ask you how much a campaign's going to be or how much it will cost for consultancy and go and ask 20 other people as well and probably pick the cheapest. In Dubai, people want the best, not the cheapest. Okay. That's a big difference, I would say.
Yeah, they want the best. Yeah. When I was talking with my friend about this on the episode, a couple of episodes back, we were talking about in Dubai as a standard of living.
Yeah. Do you know what? I love that you said that because recently, in the last few months, I've started really becoming appreciative of living here because it took a while for me to build my foundations and I'm settled here now. And something that I was saying is, do you know what I think it is that I love? It's the quality of living. It's the quality of life. And I don't mean the extravagance. I don't mean, just because you've got money. I just mean the quality. I mean things like the convenience. The fact that right now, if I need something, I can probably get it in 20 minutes or I can do this in 10 minutes or everything is just very convenient and the quality of living then goes up because you're less stressed. And you don't really realise that until you move to a place like Dubai.
Yeah. What's the work-life balance like? Is it mad there? Because I know London it can be crazy, obviously depending on where you are.
Do you mean in the sense of like partying, getting distracted?
More like the work culture. Because like, okay, where can I use the example? Okay, so in Japan for instance, I heard that they work crazy hours.
Okay.
It's just work. Not much play. right? Is Dubai very similar?
Well, firstly, remember my experience is going to be from a business owner's point of view rather than like a clocking in, clocking off. But a lot of my boys who do like real estate and stuff, Dubai is very flexible based on Dubai is more productivity than longer hours. I would say someone in Dubai might disagree with me, but I think it's more about what you get done in those hours. There's so many opportunities to relax, enjoy, like live your life, experience things. So I would say I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of partying, there's a lot of lifestyle, there's a lot of enjoyment. So, but at the same time, people are like kind of pushed to do well in the hours that they do have, so they can go and enjoy all of these things that they're surrounded by. Do you get what I mean? Because you want to be able to go and sit at the beach club all day, but to do that, you got to have a good week at work. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. 100%, man. And that's the thing. I think sometimes you just got to put in the hours, man. You got to put in the shift for you to get a reward, right?
Me personally, the work-life balance is exactly like, I can't lie. I think I work harder here in the sense of like, because I'm more, everything is more comfortable here. So it's like, for example, I can create content all day from a beach club. So am I going to work more? 100%. Because do you know what I mean? Like I'm at a beach club. Like I've got the sun. I've got a certain energy. So I feel like when it comes to like us, Tyra Creative, hours wise, there's no set hours. It's just, remember, we love what we do. So for us, nothing really feels like that. Like we're literally a part of like creating the biggest and the most enjoyable brands in our city, and then we're able to step outside this office and go and experience them. So like, it's a no-brainer, man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's mad. I was wondering, like, what kind of challenges have you had though with like Tyra Creative?
So bear in mind, again, when I speak about it, I must always make it clear. Yeah, the big boss lady is Tyra. Yeah, I must always make that clear.
Well, because she might be listening.
No, not even just from listening. No, she's in the next room as well, so she probably is. But not even just from listening. Do you know what it is from a standpoint of when I came here, I was impressed. This is not for the first time in my journey. This is not what Trist built. This was already here. Do you get what I mean? I've come on and I've put the icing on the cake with certain things, but also we're just pushing each other to just get further and further and further and further. She's the creative 24/7. She's glued to this chair, this desk, this office. So in regards to the challenges from that side, only she could speak on. But in regards to what I see it since I've come in and got involved, which has obviously been this year, I would say one thing I would definitely say is imitation. Like, we have set a standard in Dubai across the board in nightclub industry and food and beverage industry for how your brand should look. We also set a standard on how events should go. We also set a standard of quality in your branding and marketing, and that can go without like, loop this if you want to loop this. I can say that with the whole of my chest. We've done that, yeah? And as a result of that, there's a lot of imitation. That's been quite frustrating along the way because we spent hours in there thinking of original and creative concepts. We spent hours working at these things that might just look amazing for you to copy. So that's something. Other challenges, like I said, bro, I got to cut the crap. I came in and it's kind of already, the foundation's built. The telephone doesn't stop ringing. Clients are every single day. It doesn't stop because the reputation's already been built. She already built a brand in this place. That means that she's the go-to. So me coming in and adding creativity towards clients that are already there and already generated, it's easy. Do you get what I mean? There's been no friction in that. So I can't sit here and say, no, do you know what, this has been hard. She could probably sit and talk to you about what was hard in regards to, like, she transitioned from an agency that she worked with to creating her own business. That was obviously quite hard, and building her own clientele because a lot of her work was credited to her previous agency. So we're around Dubai and we're seeing big brands that were designed by her, but they were designed by her in her own agency, in her old agency. So now obviously building her own thing has obviously been a transition. But no, other than that, bro, I think because our work speaks for itself and the results speak for itself, I can't sit here and say, oh, this has been hard, that's been hard. Just keep going, man. Keep going.
Yeah, love that. Keep going. So what would you say makes a good brand?
Now you're talking my language. The reason I want to think before I say it, because I think nowadays everyone throws answers out to this way too quickly, and I don't like the narratives that are out there. Firstly, identity. Yeah, understanding what identity you're creating, your tone of voice, how you're communicating to your audience, like how is your message being given across. Don't get me wrong, the way you do it is marketing, but the brand still has a tone of voice, and that tone of voice can come through based on colors, can come through based on communication, it can be based on textiles, so that's important. Consistency. You're not going to build a brand successfully if you're not consistent, and that means repetition. That means people consistently seeing it, being aware of it, and also making sure that you stick to what you've set out. So if your brand has been built a certain way, stay on brand. That's what you've got to stick to. That's your guideline. That's your template. It's your blueprint. So you've got to stick to that. Whereas a lot of people will start building a brand and change it 1,000 different times. So there's not actually, a brand has got to be a feeling. It's got to be something you just experience. You know that something is a Starbucks coffee or Nike trainers because there's a feeling to it, it's an experience. And that brand begins through the beginning of the process. So your Nike experience is when you walk in the store, it's the bags, might be the style of the receipt, it might be the style of the box, and then on top of that, how they've put the laces, how they've bagged the trainers. Same thing with Starbucks. Your brand is also your experience when you go in there. Whereas a lot of people, they just literally think, let me create a page and now I have a brand. Let me put the title of what my concept is and now I have a brand. But what does your brand feel like? What do people get from that? Like, what do you stand for? What's your message? These are things that I think people are missing out on a lot. And this is why I'm on a mission to cut the crap. Because people, they're going, they think what they're doing is I'm building a brand because it now is cool to say I'm building a brand. Brand is such a common word now. So everyone wants to be able to say I own a brand or I've got a brand, I'm creating a brand. But not many understand what a real brand is and how real brands stand the test of time. And to do that, you've got to understand branding in depth.
Yeah. And how can someone understand branding in depth though if they know nothing about it?
For me, branding and building brands has been my passion since I was about 12 years old. So I think what I would say to someone who doesn't is, personally, let me not say everyone's passionate because sometimes you create businesses not for passion. And I think the first thing is to study other brands, like to study the leading brands, like how they've built their brands. Study Nike, study Starbucks, study Vodafone, or whatever it is, whatever the brand is, Apple. Like I've studied all of these brands. Go and read the books of the directors. Understand what they went through in the journey. Where was the pivotal parts of their brand? Where did it become a brand from actually just being an idea or a company? Like, go and watch these documentaries. All I do is watch these things. Like Grow Daily, the page is a result of my life. Like, I am Grow Daily. The page is me. I watch all of these videos, all of these podcasts, all of this content. I watch this, bro. Like, I'm not just sitting there and other people are doing it for me. So if you want to get into something, what's the first thing you do? You study it. Before you can be a teacher, be a good student. And the thing that I pride myself in, I've always been a good student. Go and study how to build a brand. There's countless books, countless documentaries, countless examples of brands. And now we're fortunate enough to have brand owners amongst us as peers. In the UK, we've got so many brand owners amongst us as peers. We've got examples left, right and centre, man.
Yeah. I love that. I love the fact that you mentioned education. I don't think there's been anybody on the podcast that's been successful and they didn't educate and there wasn't a learn. I don't think I found anybody yet that's not done that. I was wondering, there was another thing that I was thinking whilst you were talking about brands. Do you feel like personal brands have become more prominent and important on the rise of, and this is not even a question I wrote, it's just something I was thinking, on the rise of influencers? Because as you mentioned Apple, then I started thinking, well, actually, there's actually people who are actual brands. They are a brand, you know?
Yeah, I think the personal branding thing, it started coming into play around 2016-17. Gary Vee was obviously a big forefront guy from this. But there's been personal branding, let me rephrase that. There's been personal branding for years, yeah? P. Diddy's a personal brand. Like, there's loads. But it became more of a thing for everyone to do before they made a business around that age, yeah? It has become prominent because we're in a different era. And nowadays, transparency sells more. because we got into an era in life where social media started coming into play and reality TV came into play. And as a result of that, we got examples like the Kardashians. And these people, they showed that being transparent and showing who they are can allow them, because let's be honest, before, I think, I've heard this somewhere, Kardashians, I think they were the first maybe reality TV stars or something like that, something along them lines. The first reality stars to build a brand. So, and they have one of the biggest brands in the world, whether we like it or not. So these examples started building personal brands by being transparent. And then we got tools such as social media, which allowed us to always show our life. So then we got concepts like document rather than create, and everyone started just filming what they was doing. And in the process of filming what you're doing, you start documenting your day to day. So if you're building a company, you start to realize, well, let me talk about what that's like. And then as a byproduct of that, you've created a personal brand. So to answer your question, they have become more dominant. I think it's an amazing thing, but I think it's also very saturated. And I think the reason it's saturated is because, like anything, when we realize this works, we all want to do it. Do you get what I mean? Because the majority of us are sheep, believe it or not. So most of us want to do it. So now everyone wants to build a personal brand. And why I say cut the crap is because we can't all be a personal brand, and we also don't all need to be one. Because what we now have taken focus from is business. Businesses and brands are still amazing. For example, Tyra hasn't focused much on her personal brand. She's not the biggest, most known person on the internet, but her business is dominant and it's a successful business. So we don't have to always personal brand, but if it is done well, I think it's amazing. I think I am an example of personal branding. This is what I'm doing. This is why I'm on this platform now, because it's not just about my brands, it's also about me and my experience. And I think if people connect with you, it's authentic, it's raw, and if you've given them it, like for me, I've been giving them content since 2012. I've been on the internet forever, bro. So I'm blessed where people can always go, oh man, they can connect so many dots. But that's important. To anyone who's out there watching this and just thinks like, yeah, okay, let me just start a personal brand because my business will blow. It might not, because guess what? People might not like you. People might not connect with you. And people might not care about your story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So cut the crap, man.
You know, this ties me on nicely, because I was going through your page, and so I was sensing a bit of frustration about people making business seem easy, innit? Right, so you know, okay, so tell us about some of the struggles that you've had. So you obviously told us about Rap City, but tell us, make it real for us. Make business real for us.
Alright, I'll give you some of the previews of Cut the Crap. So just to explain Cut the Crap, because I know it just seems like a hashtag, I'm just at the moment subconsciously branding it into people's head, because I'm about to, and I haven't spoke about this yet, I'm about to put together a workshop and a 30-day of content. So I'm about to put a content series together and then a workshop, hopefully, on the back of that. And then where that's going to go, endless, because I'm someone who loves to brand. So I'm probably going to turn that into t-shirts. I might do, bro, it's endless. I've got the options and the opportunities around me. Cut the Crap is basically about, like you said, people making business and success, and even this life, seem like can only go one way if you do this, or if you do this, it's just so easy. Like, oh my God, just everyone become an entrepreneur. It's the best thing ever. Let's just all do it. Cut the crap, because that's not true. And to make it real for you, bro, going through Rap City, I hit depression. My health, I started having health issues. I was in financial issues at some point. Like, I lost certain friends because I just wasn't about it. It affected my relationship. Like, it was stressful, bro. It affected me and my friendship. It was stressful. It's hard. Like, you can go into debt. You can lose everything. I've been to the bottom since coming from the bottom. Like, I've been back to the bottom. And that's a result of business and not necessarily the best financial decisions and trusting in the wrong people and saying yes to the wrong things and endorsing the wrong things and putting my name to the wrong things. So business isn't easy. Building a brand isn't easy. It's not as simple as wake up at 6 a.m. every morning and then you be successful. No, because there's a man watching this that wakes up at 6 a.m. every morning and he's hitting his head against the wall because it's not working for him. And the reason why you might sense frustration is because I've got to the point now where I came up like everyone else and I studied what everyone else studied. And a lot of people made it seem like it was so amazing and so easy. But I know better because I lived it. I've really done this. I've really built these businesses from the ground up. So I know what comes with it. So when people make it seem like, oh yeah, forget your 9 to 5 and just jump into a business. Big man. Big man. Sometimes you got to do that 9 to 5 for 5 years and stack your bread until you even think about making that jump.
Exactly.
Because I've done it the other way round and it ain't easy. Like, I wish I had maybe stuck in a job longer than I did. I wish I hadn't moved out of my mum's house as soon as I did. I wish all these things. So this whole concept of like, oh yeah, business is easy. No, those are some of the challenges. You might get hate. You might get negativity. It might go wrong. You might invest hundreds of thousands of pounds into businesses and it might all flop. You might get a pandemic come along and now your business don't work. Someone might come and take you out of the game. You might get competition that goes boom. Guess what else? The industry might change. We might go from 3-minute videos to 30-second videos and no one wants to sit and watch your podcast no more. There's so many things that can change. So cut the crap, man. Like, let's get to the core of it and understand that the real key to being successful in business is being ready for change at all times, is being adjustable, is studying every bit you can, is always being ready to be able to go like switch it to pivot, like to know that you might lose all your friends, to know that you might fucking not be able to maintain a good relationship with your family, with your loved one, to know that you might actually have health issues and not even have time to go and fix them because you're so dedicated to proving a point, to know that you might actually lose yourself in this whole concept you're creating and you've lost your self of identity. Do you know what I mean, bro? There's so much to it. But no one, there are people, but the majority don't go into this and everyone wants everything to look glossy. And all we do is show like, hey, I moved to Dubai, like, look at me, like, but bro, there was times where you nearly couldn't pay for your visa and nearly got sent back to the UK. What are you talking about? Like, there's times where you actually don't know how to sort out this rent and this ain't the UK, you're out. They'll send police, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it is not, and I think it's time that as people with platforms, we start to showcase the other side. So when a young kid is watching these things, because they do watch these things more than they watch TV.
They do watch
these things, bro, and they learn things from these YouTube, from these platforms. They're watching someone like yourself, someone like myself, and they're saying, right, you know what? When I go into this, I remember that Trist guy, when he started Rap City, he spent way too much on his unit. And he didn't need to spend that much up front because he started on a loss and it was hard to get it back. So let me spend less. Let me not build my business based on my ego and who I am. In fact, let me not change my social media handle yet. Let me get to a certain level first. Let me not make the business too much about me. Do you know what I mean, bro? So I just think, cut the fucking crap, man.
Love that, man. Love that. You said a lot.
I know.
And
I've been through it. I've been through it, man. I've been through it.
And that's it. And I love that you're sharing your experience because I think you're making it sound realistic. I feel like you definitely went through a lot of these situations, but that's why the reason why I wanted to get you on so that you could talk about your story and talk about your situations. Like you said, I think they've glamorized being an entrepreneur a little bit too much online. Like you said, make 20k or 30k in a day or something crazy like that. When we know it's not that easy.
And there's like a narrative that it makes people that are like 9 to 5ers. It makes them feel like they're not good enough. Like I'm not on that. I don't like that. Like ZZ Mills, big up ZZ. Like she tweeted about this yesterday. Like, it's okay to have a job, bro. It's okay to have a 9 to 5.
Yes.
Like, and not even just because, there you go, bro. Like, and not even just because you want to fund something. You might just want to be the best in your company. Like, that's fine. You might not even want to be the best, and that's fine too. Like, we don't need to, and not everyone can be the top, because then it's not the top anymore. And I just think people need to stop putting this narrative that there's only one way to do it, man.
Yeah, I agree. There's multiple ways to do it. It's just about finding what's like good for you. Why do you think you've been successful?
Right, that's a really good question. I would say I'm a good student, first and foremost. Yeah, I'm a very good student. I studied a lot of the people that were leading in wherever I go. I end up attracting to the top there, like the top in marketing, the top in branding, the top in sales back then, the top in the music industry, the top in entertainment. And I study them, habits, characteristics, mindset. I want to learn what the teacher learned. I don't just want to learn what the teacher's teaching me. Where did you learn? I want to go learn from there. And I think there's that. I think resilient. I'm proud as fuck. So just the thought of failing for me is like not even an option. Like I'm just too proud. Like I've spent my whole of my 20s living based off of a Drake lyric saying I got to prove I made the right decision. Like that's how I've lived my 20s. So do you know what I mean? So you see, like having that mindset, I would say it's that, and just ambition as well, drive. Like I'm not a lazy person, bro. I'm always willing to work for whatever it may be because I know what success feels like now. I know what might have to be willing to be given up for it, and I'm always willing to sacrifice. I'm willing to sacrifice. I've learned along my journey. I've had egos and pride has got in the way, but I've known when to take it back. But my main thing to just really cut the crap on this is I literally just, no pun intended, I just grow daily. My mindset, all the time. I want to learn all the time. I can learn from you, I learn from this, I learn from anything. Whatever I can learn from, I soak it in, bro.
Yeah, I love that. And I think, again, that's probably, you've hit the nail on the head. That's definitely the reason why you're successful. You know, never giving up.
And you know what? Actually, one thing that I've got to add to that is risks. I've taken risks that people wouldn't take.
Yeah. It's true. You've taken some mad risks. You've taken some mad risks. No, let's be real. Like you, during a pandemic, you shut down one business and went to Dubai. That's not everybody would do that.
I'm bro. I'm tired. Because I'm on it, man. That's how I am. I'm a risk taker. I'm willing to take a risk, man.
Why do you think you keep going? Like, what's the why as to why you keep going?
At this point, like originally it was for my mum and my family. Like I think most people from our backgrounds, like it's always about helping your mum out, helping your family. At this point, I've always wanted to make an impact. Like I want to make an impact. And I'm not impactful enough yet. My voice isn't loud enough yet. I've got a lot to put out there and a lot of experience that I think can help change and improve things. So I feel like now I'm so like attached to the vision, which is this impact, this making this impact on the world based on my lifetime, that I can't stop now because I've got too much more to do. And I've made impact. So far. Like I wouldn't have people like yourself shouting me for. I know there's impact been made, but it is not enough yet. And that is nothing to do with me. I just think I was blessed with certain things that I don't think it's right that I go to the grave with. I think I've got to get it all out and pull it all out and leave it all in the field and just leave a trail so others understand what I just went through and what I learned.
Yeah, and what does that impact look like if we say at the you've done it all? What does that look like?
Making people's lives.
Well, you don't know yet. You're just like, okay.
No, do you know what I do? And it's always been about. For me, it was always about the next generation and those coming behind. So that because a lot of times people didn't give me game, I went and got the game. So you see, like some people, like they have this whole narrative of like, no one told me nothing. People did tell me things, but I went and forced them to because I went and got it. But what I want to do for the next generation is here it is. You don't need to, here it is. And I want people to understand the main thing is that people start to personally develop themselves. I'm very, very passionate about that. And I don't just mean in business. I mean in communication, in relationships, in spirituality, in health, because it's not, this convo is quite business heavy, but the chapter I'm at now and what the next set of content, Cut the Crap is going to be for business, yes, and mindset. But after that, there's going to be a lot of content focused on healing traumas, therapy, relationships, healthy relationships, like how to undo some of the things that we've done to ourselves and getting out of our own way. Yeah. And all of these things, I think, weren't taught enough in the educational system. So to answer your question, the impact is giving it. It is in an ideal world, bro, I would love to have a change in the educational system. I would love to, because of me or because of my work, there was something in the educational system that was changed that gave kids growing up the truth, not Pythagoras' theorem, not algebra, like the truth. Like, what really does this life look like? Do you know what I mean? Like, what am I really about to step out into the real world and experience? Because I don't think they do in those classrooms.
No, 100% they defo don't do it. And, you know, I was having this conversation with my wife the other day. I think the most important areas of our life, we never really got any proper education about it. Finances, career, relationships,
100%.
right? Mental health,
100%.
health. None of the actual
the things that matter. Yeah, 100%.
Even being an adult. No educate. You're just kind of left to your own devices. Make your mess ups, and then if you survive, it's like survival of the fittest. If you survive and you make good, you're good. If you don't, you just fall off the the face of the earth. You mentioned something there that I wanted to like touch on. Where you're talking about in terms of unlearning some stuff. I think an unlearning that a lot of people sometimes have to do is with feeling like they're imposter when they've made it to a certain bit and they're like, can I do this? Can I do? Just doubt themselves, And sometimes I get those doubts. I'm like, am I supposed to be here? So, do you ever get that? And if you do, how do you overcome it?
Yeah. I've imposter syndrome. I think I've had it all my life. I think but I only realized this in the last year. I think because my upbringing was so polar opposites, it's so easy to have it. So when you're the only guy, when you're, for example, the only black boy in the room, or when you're the only one who goes private school. So I was too like neaky for the roads, but I was too roads for the neaky lot. Do you get what I mean? So you automatically start to develop a lack of identity, and you'll kind of go through life searching for where you belong, because you don't fit there. You're not full on the roads doing the road thing, but you don't really fit there because you do have a bit of road influence in you. And I think going through life, it stayed with me. So I think every chapter that we've just gone through, I got to that point. I think I've only really uncovered that in the last year. And that was as a result of me coming off the internet, falling back from all of this, and then realizing that, whoa, number one, moving out my environment, but number two, realizing this is actually your purpose. Like, it is your purpose. You feel at your peace, at your most peace, and you feel most productive when you are creating content based on these topics. You love this. This is what you eat, sleep, breathe. This is you. No imposter about it. You are meant to be that person. You're meant to lead. You're meant to this. You're meant to that. I love doing the content, but I'm not the walk in the room, look at me person. A lot of the time I'll be in the room and be in a corner. Like, I'll be smoking a vape, like, in the corner, like, do you know what I mean? So, I think, to answer your question, yes, I've experienced it. I think the way to battle it and combat it is to really dig deeper. So if you've done the personal growth, but keep going, because the deeper you get, the more you start to really uncover who you really are, because you take away who you thought you were, what people thought you were, what you achieved. You take away all these things that you, over the last 10 years, take away the car, the house, the watches, the money, take it all away, and then what are you left with? And what you're left with is you, and then once you get attached, not even attached to that, but once you come to peace with that, you no longer feel like an imposter.
Yeah. I completely understand it. It's like you're saying, strip yourself back to the bare. Like, what is your natural go-to? Who are you?
Yeah, man. Take away the mask, bro. It's the mask. It's the mask. Like, we all live in a mask. We all live in personas. Personal branding has made it even worse. We create these personas and then we live in it. We create who we want to be, which is fine, but then we live in that. But we are not a persona like you, and we can get mad deep here, but we're not going to go there yet. Like, maybe that's for another combo, yeah? But we
That's for when you come back to London, yeah.
Yeah, that's when I come back to London. But what we do is that we create a concept of us and then live in it, and we can't take that mask off. So we've built our persona on success, achievements, followers, likes, all these things that if, God forbid, they were to be taken from us, we wouldn't know who we really are. And then what happens is that you become a slave to that mask. And then when things happen that actually shake you out of that mask, you don't know how to function because you forgot what it was like without the mask on, bro. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like just never ever acting, man. I mean, I do feel bad for people like when if you think about it, like your profile, your online profile is how you're making money. And that's what you're doing 24/7. It's even your job, your career, it can become you. You can become
100%. 100%. We've got to be aware of it happening, and that's where like the grow daily principles, the like, whether it's meditation, whether it's affirmations, whether it's what you listen to, like, we've got to remember that these things we create are bubbles. They are not really us. If you ask someone nowadays, who are you? They will 9 out of 10 times say what they do, not who they actually are. Because 90% of us don't know who we are. Because 90% of us haven't spent time with who we really are. Because we're so busy, bro. Like, we think we have to do. We go to school and then uni and then job, and then we very rarely, like the Italians, they have a concept called dolce far niente, yeah? It's in the movie Eat, Pray, Love. And it's the art of doing nothing. And the concept of that is literally being at one with doing nothing, being at peace with being minimal, not achieving and adding and add, being at zero. Big up Alex Manzi, like one of my guys, he says this a lot on his content. Being at zero, very important, but we don't know how to do it because we're uncomfortable with it. So because of that, we don't really know who we are because it's all noise, bro. There's so much noise, personas and brand and reputation, but we very rarely strip to core. I, for one, am unsubscribed from that life. I'm not living that life no more. I don't care about what all of you lot out there care about. I don't care about it. I'm not subscribed to it. I don't give a fuck about it. You love it. Like, I don't care no more. Like, I'm just doing what I love and being who I love. And that's it. I can't. I've done that. I did it for years. I gave a lot to it, and I don't want to do it no more. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love that, man. And I love that you came to that realization. And I think it's a brave thing to do, to be like, look, I don't accept that. This is who I'm gonna be, and I love it. And that's where, you know, I think it takes a strong person to be able to accept who they are, accept what they are, and just do that. Okay, so in terms of what's next for you?
So what's next right now? Again, you see, even that question, it's always about like, tell them 100 goals, and you're like, what do you want to do by the next year? No, forget all of that. For me, right now, is exactly what I'm doing now, but consistently. What's next for me is what is now. I don't even care about what's next, to be honest, bro. Like, it is what is now. I'm in the moment. I'm in the present moment. I'm loving life now. I'm loving what I'm doing. Tyra Creative is going to continue to grow. Yes, obviously, I still have goals. I hope that the plan is to obviously make that one of the biggest agencies in the world. But my focus right now is very heavily on the personal brand. I want to really lift up the Trist Taylor brand. That's why I was happy you reached out, because I'm on all of this now. I want to I want to start taking it more seriously, because I built this brand by accident, bro. Like, I was just telling people what I'm doing in my life. Like, I wasn't strategically creating content. I was just saying what I've done, what I'm doing. But now I'm sitting there and I'm getting my experiences together. I'm organizing it. That could be a workshop. That could be a book. That could be a podcast. That could be a movie. That could be all of this that's in here, and the experience. Because as you can tell, it's a wide variety of experience. I'm putting it now into place, and I'm going to consistently just be at it. And I keep saying to people at the moment, for the next year, I am treating content like an up-and-coming rapper, yeah? Like, imagine a rapper who, imagine a rapper who's had hits, but he's always been back and forth in the music thing. This year, I'm in the studio for a year, and I'm going to put my all in it, and we'll see where we are next year. I'm not watching the clock. I'm not watching the scoreboard. I don't want to watch the likes and the stats and I'm just going to do my best, put it all into this, and hope that it goes, well, not even hope. Where it's meant to go is where it's meant to go, bro. That's it. Do you know what I mean? And that's all it is.
Okay, love that.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm at peace with it now. It's not a rush. I'm not in a race. Like, what I bring is what I bring. No one can be me. Obviously, in regards to like day-to-day life, I want to build more, achieve more things in Dubai. I want to make more of a name for myself in Dubai. I want to, in the end, to give you some of the, because I know the question was meant to be this. I was just being extra and going that way, but I'll tell you the real answer is I want to put events on that are focused on personal development, but huge ones, stadiums, like Gary V level ones, not just with me. I want to bring people. You might see an event in Dubai for a Grow Daily webinar, a seminar, sorry. You might see, and this is just names off the top of my head, so let's not get carried away with this, but you might see Mikey Trapstar, B and Alfie, you might see Alex Manzi all on the lineup, and Gary V. You might see them all on the lineup. Those are the kind of things I want to eventually get to. So, because my main mission is still the same. It's just showing people how to work this. Like, that is actually it. Showing people how to work this, and everything else around it is just a byproduct.
Okay, wow. I love it. I'm excited about it. I always like to hear about people's dreams because it's always nice to hear what other people are trying to achieve and seeing it being achieved. I think that's like one of the best things that you can that you can witness. I just love the vision, man. It's great. Where can people find you?
Everywhere, man. If you can't find me, I ain't doing enough. Yeah, simple as that. Everywhere, bro. Everywhere.
Okay, you know what? I had somebody in marketing, right? And I was like, she was telling me, I was telling her something about Coca-Cola still spending $3 billion on marketing.
I saw that clip.
Yeah, she's like, well, they want to be, so bro, you never stop marketing.
Everywhere, bro. You still see a boosted ad today. Like, I'm everywhere. Like, podcast wise, I'm back on my podcast game. I'm just waiting to get back into my YouTube channel. I'm about to launch my 3rd season of Brand Therapy Podcast. Cut the Crap concept is coming in the next few weeks. As I say, Tyra Creative, you're only going to keep hearing that name more and more and more and more and more. And in regards to like finding, I'm on every platform because I understand my mission, bro. I'm on TikTok heavily. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Snapchat. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not playing with them. I'm everywhere. Wherever you want me to be, I'ma be. Do you get what I mean? Whatever you consume. If you come around, if you shout me in a few weeks, say, Trist, I'm on this new app, Be Real. I'ma jump on Be Real, man. I'ma figure that out.
Yeah, you need to jump on Be Real. I still haven't jumped on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna figure it out. Whatever it is, bro. My fingers on the pulse. Like I stay up to date. I love this media stuff. I'm really a big part of it. Like I'm into tech. I'm into brands. I like to know what's coming, what's going, what social media platforms are changing. Like I like to see the algorithm changes. Like, yeah, I know we're all hating Instagram right now, but figure it out, man. Like you can work it out. Just adjust to what is happening. Do you know what I mean? Exactly.
And do you have any final words for the people, listeners, watchers?
Yeah, man. Cut the crap, bro. And you know what I say? Cut the crap. Yeah, cut the crap from the business side of things that we spoke about today. But cut the crap from your life. A lot of stuff that you have and think you need or think you want, you don't really want. Cut the crap. Cut back. Like, we think we have to have. Sometimes you have to have not. Sometimes you have to free yourself. So cut the crap, man. Stop the bullshit. Stop the lies. Stop the mask. Just cut the crap. Like, bro, you are one of the first people, yeah? And I promise you, one thing about me in the last 10, 12 years, every bit of content I've ever done always becomes relevant later, yeah? So this clip will become relevant again in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Trust me, I still post clips from 2013, bro. And this is the first time I've really spoke about cut the crap publicly, and so I'm happy. Number one, I appreciate you for having me on this platform. But number two, anyone watching this, remember that phrase, because forget business. I'm not doing this because I want it to make me millions. I actually want you to understand that if you cut the crap and you grow daily, there's no coincidence that these brands.
Okay, love that.
What I'm saying?
Cut the crap and grow daily.
Come on, my bro. You know what I'm saying? Brand everything, man. Come on, my bro.
That's sick. Yeah. Brand everything. I love it, man. I really appreciate you coming onto the podcast, bro.
Thank you, bro.
I've been looking forward to this for a long time, to be honest, man.
Thank you, bro.
It's been in the works from my perspective anyway for a while, so I really appreciate it.
And keep going as well. I know what it's like, bro. When you first reach out to people, when you first grow on your platform, trust me, man. I'm blessed with a good network.
It's hard. Oh, it's hard. Oh, I've been aired. I've had one person stand me up. Oh yeah, I've had it all. But for me, obviously you get them down moments, but you just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, just keep going because I've been there, bro.
Yeah. For me though, for me personally, it's my highlights of it is me getting to speak to people like you. That's highlights. Do you know what I mean? I don't worry too much about people that don't respond or it's just what comes with it. I'm like, it comes with it. Just gotta do what I got.
And you know what? Yeah. One thing I'll say to you as well, bro. Yeah, and it's something I've been speaking a lot on recently. They will all jump on after certain people jump on. I tell you that for free.
Yeah.
You see CEO Cast. Big shout out to CEO Cast, Raheem, good friend of mine. When I jumped on, no one was on there yet, bro. There's been many platforms I've jumped on, people weren't on there. I don't do that. Oh, who's on it? I just want it to be good quality. I'm with it. So you'll notice that. They cut the crap from them as well, man.
I am. I definitely am. Yeah, man. I've had all sorts. I've had somebody tell me, "Oh, you need to grow your followers." Before, somebody told me that.
The way I see it is like, I am doing my own mission. I don't need to use you for my mission. So whether you've got one follower or not, that's not my mission. I just want to know what you're about and your vibe. If you can have good conversation, if you're going to steer me in the right way, and if you actually care about what you're doing. I don't care how many followers you got, bro. Like, as long as it looks like you care about this, then I'm with it.
Yeah, and I do. I put a lot of effort into it. So yeah, man, it's for me, it's just like, it just comes with it. So I'm just like, whatever, in it. That's what it is. But like you said, for me, I'd rather somebody, it's not about like what I can give you or you can give me. If you want to spread value, let's do it.
100%, exactly.
You can provide some value, right? And that's how you should see it. That you should see that you want to. But a lot of people, like you said, they just clout. It's clout. It's a clout.
Cut the crap. That's why they're not cutting the crap, my bro. They're not cutting it. It's a load of crap, man. It's the Matrix. You gotta decode it, man.
Yeah, gotta decode it, man. But yeah, man, very grateful for you.
Nah, you too, bro. Thanks for having me on, bro.
No, very, very, very welcome. Listeners, watchers, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Takeoff Experience. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.